We're driven by the search for better. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Leveraging over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day, Indeed's matching engine is constantly learning from your preferences. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Just go to Indeed.com/Blue Wire right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
Hello, friends. Welcome back to Mavs Party. I'm Kirk Henderson. It's a little before 10 o'clock on February 28th. I think it's a Wednesday. Tomorrow is Leap Day, February 29th, one of the weirder days on the calendar. If you are listening to the show on an audio stream, thank you so much. You should consider joining us live. If you are here live, there is a pinned message in the chat with a link to a StreamYard.com app. There's a link to a StreamYard.com web address where you can join this from your phone. You can join from your computer. There's all sorts of fun ways where you can actually show your video if you want. If you just want to issue a comment, you want to come up here and yell at me about one of my takes, because what we're here to do is talk about the most important triple-double of the evening. One featuring Theo Pinson getting a triple-double with the Texas Legends to go along with Jordan Jelly Walker's 43 points as they earned the dub. No, I'm just kidding. Those things did happen tonight, but we're actually here to talk about the Dallas Mavericks finally notching a road win as they beat the pants off Toronto Raptors 136-125. That 11-point margin of victory might not mean much to you if you're listening the next day, but it was a needed victory. So once again, if you're listening on the live stream, go ahead and click in. I want to hear your takes. If you're, tag me in the comments if you have questions, things you want me to answer. I can go ahead and do that a little bit later. First up, we got my man Brian, who is a regular correspondent here on the show. Brian, what are you thinking tonight? How you doing?
Hey, man, I'm great. I was so glad that we had another game coming right off of that Cleveland game, because if I had to sit on that for 3 days and then play the Celtics, I would have had heartburn, dog. So this was exactly what we needed. We got the PJ game, the positive shooting regression. We got Tim playing better and like making shots, sure, but also Kid did a really good job of managing his minutes and his sub pattern so that he was never in without at least two of Luka, Kyrie, or Exum. And really, he didn't play that many minutes with Luka and Kyrie, I don't think. Having Exum back was, I'm so glad that dude is back, because having him back just kind of like settle everybody down and run the offense for Kyrie and for Tim in those non-Luka minutes is huge. It took a load off of Tim's shoulders. It made it easier for him to just play the role he needs to play on this team. And everybody looked better because of it. Josh was, high energy as usual, scrapping for offensive rebound. Had a weird air ball from the corner that cost me a little money towards the end of the game. I thought that was
I saw that
funny.
one. I started laughing, and my wife was like, "What's happened?" I was like, "Josh almost killed a man."
That's the worst I think he's missed a three this calendar year. I'm not even joking.
He shot it it wasn't like slightly off. It was about a foot past the rim. That was amazing.
Yeah. I have not seen that from him in a long time. But he only had 5 points. Still had a decent game though. Uh, man, can we just talk about Paul Jermaine Washington Jr. a bit?
Paul Jermaine Washington. Did not know
Yes,
that's
sir,
what PJ stands for. Let's talk about it. Tell me what you think.
dude. So I've got to give Kid credit. I don't even know if this is. I'm assuming this is game plan. So I'm going to give the coach credit. I'm going to give Luka credit also. Them running offense early to get PJ involved and do more than just stand in the corner was an excellent idea because it did
Yes.
exactly what they would hope. He got to put his hands on the ball, go to the rim a couple times, get that floater going. Then he, well, no, I think the floaters came after, but he hit a three, started feeling good, hit another one. Then the floaters started falling. The drives got more aggressive. And suddenly the Raptors were like, oh, we've got to like actually go guard this dude. And when they didn't, he made them pay. And it helped tremendously because, yeah, Tim got it going a bit, but he still only had like 16 points. That would not have been enough for a Raptors team that ended up scoring 125. So we really needed what he brought tonight. And then on defense, like IQ had really great numbers. I love Emmanuel quickly. I think he's going to be awesome in Toronto. He already is, but going forward, and whenever PJ slid onto him, it was just nothing. He shut his water off. Like what he's been doing against these small, quick guards in the last couple of games, after he had a kind of shaky start in OKC against Shea, he was really clamping up against Mitchell and Garland and then IQ tonight in a way that really mattered because if we can't play X in big minutes, if Derrick Jones Jr. can't hit enough shots to like stay on the floor, we need to know that we have somebody who can. Okay, we need to just go guard point of attack for like 5 possessions in a row and spell Josh or spell Kyrie or whoever's doing it. And what he's been showing the last few games is like seriously impressive.
One thing I don't understand, I would need a smarter person. Maybe you can answer this because you're probably smarter than me. Most people are. Why in the hell is this man able to walk into really pretty looking catch and shoot above the break threes, and then the corner threes look like shot from a blind trebuchet?
You know what? I've noticed that too. I don't know. I think that's just kind of his spot. Like he's going to work on the corner three. But I feel like him getting more comfortable is helping, and so him getting more above the break looks and getting more early drives and early easy baskets off of cuts and things like that are going to help him out a bit from the corner. But that corner jumper, if it's just not his spot, that's going to have to be an off-season fix. So that may limit a little bit of what we're going to try and do in the playoffs. But honestly, with the way Josh has been shooting from the corners, with the way Tim shoots from the corners, with the way Luka and Kyrie honestly shoot from the corners when they have those opportunities, I'm not that concerned about it. What he's been doing already, just with the drives and the floaters in the mid-range game when he can't get all the way to the rim, smart decisions passing out of drives, and really just what he's doing defensively, mostly on ball, but off ball he's been pretty impressive too. Like his attention to detail is at a level where I did not think it would be coming out of Charlotte. He's been genuinely impressive. And shout out to Gafford and Lively having really good nights too. Like Gafford, there was a whole minutes thing, but that was due to matchup last game. Tonight he played well. He was chasing blocks a little bit too much and was out of position a lot, but at the end of the day, he's your backup center, so it's okay. He's still out there getting offensive boards, working hard in the paint, rolling hard, making the defense have to account for him. And Lively was dominant in the paint, dude. Like on both ends, he was really, really good.
Under control. There's this one play that Nate Duncan, if you guys don't know who Nate Duncan is, he is a Dunked On podcast, really just smart basketball analyst. He keeps showing this play of, I'm pretty sure it's Scotty Barnes driving into Lively on the break and using his off arm. Like Luka tends to use the off arm on the side, like where he's like kind of keeping the defender at bay. But he basically like stiff arm.
He armbarred him right in front of. Right, that was the one that got challenged, right?
I think so, but it's
that was
like
a successful challenge.
It's just such an obvious like offensive foul. Like it's not. And so it's like he's just basically talking about how Nate Duncan's saying, you got to get this game out of the game, or get this move out of the game. But Lively was really active. His timing was great. As a result, we were getting various like geography lessons for Canada from Mark Follow, which was like normally those sorts of bits annoy me, but like I thought it was I don't know why. I just thought it was really funny.
No, Follow was on point tonight. And honestly, like to go back to that play, I feel like they were like Max. Oh my God, Scotty had to resort to that because dude, they weren't getting anything if it wasn't a floater or a three.
Yep.
When Lively was in the game, he had the paint on lockdown. And honestly, since he's come back, with the exception of the Indy game, I think when he had trouble, like either Kid wasn't telling him or he was just like having trouble knowing to like stay pressed up on Miles Turner from 17 feet out. Because honestly, I don't feel like Miles Turner could drive by him, and I don't think he could shoot over him. He should have been pressed up on him more, and Kid should have had that confidence in him. But every other game, he's been special defensively. Like what he was doing in Cleveland against Jared Allen, especially in the first quarter, was, oh my God. And then when he got in the game late against Wemby, when Gafford was having trouble with him all game, and Lively and PJ came in and just turned the water off. And I'm like, man, this is nice. Like I was tweeting before the game, just like Lively, Gafford, PJ, Maxey, Josh, Derek Jones Jr. Think about the defenders that we've had around Luka, and then now Luka and Kyrie beforehand.
Sure.
And look at this roster we have now, dude. Like, and it's still got places to go, but Exum too. I almost forgot him. That's like 7. Well, Josh is not quite a plus defender yet, but he no longer is like, bro, what are you doing? You're killing us out here because you're getting ran by these screens. Josh is like
I hear you. I know you're
probably around average.
Yeah.
You know, I'll say this. He's doing a reasonable job considering what he's given us on offense. Yeah. I'll leave it at that. But like those other
his offense is so much better that I don't really think about. Like I think of it more as an offensive threat, and if his defense is not killing us, then I don't really worry.
Yeah, for sure. And it's his offense is like very needed in a really specific way, because without him, other than Tim, we don't really have those corner shooters that are like absolutely knocked down. So yeah, he's been giving us really. I mean, I guess maybe when Jaden gets minutes, but who knows when that is, right?
That's right.
So yeah, no, I'm really happy with this team. I'm excited to see them play the Celtics and just keep it close, keep it a game in the fourth. But if we lose, you know, it's a tight West race. We probably should win. But wins are going to keep coming. We'll take them ugly, pretty, however we get them. And if we land anywhere, 5 seed or above, we'll be doing all right.
Yeah. All right, last question, then I'll let you go. So the Bulls defeated the Cavs in double overtime tonight. I think it's double overtime, 50 minutes.
Yes.
Is that right? Mm-hmm. Something like that. And Andre Drummond had another did 25 or 26 rebounds.
Yeah, like 15 and 25, I think.
And I just saw a stat that he has more of those than Dennis Rodman did, which, I mean, it's a different time, different era, but Rodman's rebounding stats don't look real.
No.
I'm going to take in the chat from someone from Proud Vet who's saying, I think that if the Mavericks had gotten Drummond, we'd be a finals threat. I wax and wane on my Drummond takes because I think by and large I am anti-Drummond for historically correct reasons. Meaning I think that his numbers don't matter. He's not a winning player, and if he was a winning player, I think that he would have won more. Just a me thing. But I think in terms of like a snapshot of what a guy can offer you over like a 40-game period, I think I'm probably wrong and probably too harsh. Do you think that the Mavericks would have been better suited somehow getting Drummond instead of Gafford?
Yeah. No. I like what we have with Gafford. I feel like having a big, bulky center would be nice, but the thing about Drummond, he has all that size and all that bulk, but that dude is not really a rim deterrent. And that's kind of what we need when Lively goes off the court. When Lively and Maxey aren't there, we need somebody in the paint that opposing teams are going to be like, okay, if we're going to go in there, we need to have a plan, because if we don't, it's getting sent to the 6th row.
Sure. Okay.
Right. And like we talked before about like his block chasing and like his positioning, and those are still things that he's got to work on. But you also got to remember that dude is still really young, whereas Drummond is like 30 now, basically.
Yeah.
Like he would have come cheaper, and maybe
In
just
theory,
like
the Bulls are objectively bad at asset management. It's really difficult.
yeah, it's like so like maybe just like it from an asset standpoint, but I don't really see it. I like Andre. I do think that Andre has actually become something of a player that can contribute to a winning team just because he really had to work to change his attitude when it became clear to him you're no longer this max rookie scale player
Sure.
that Detroit told you you were. You are actually, in fact, a bench player and like a spot role player at that. If
Right.
you work hard, you can become more. And he did, and then he did. And I mean, he's doing it on a bad team now, but I do feel like what he does could translate to a better team. I just don't know if it would translate as well as what Gafford is currently giving us.
Yeah, just kind of food for thought. I mean, I don't really have a firm take. I'm just one of those things I was kind of putting out into the void. But thank you for joining us once again.
Of course, brother, always.
All right, talk soon, man. See you Friday, I hope.
Yes, sir.
All right, coming up next is Micah, and then we have Zach. Micah, what's up, man?
Man, at the end of the day, great having the win, especially after last night. That was so comically bad.
I didn't. I woke up kind of with. I wasn't even mad. Well, I was kind of mad, but I wasn't how I normally get during shows like that. But I was still like so emotionally drained after watching that because it just sucked. But you know,
it sucked. It's like, yeah, just take the bounce back win. It's just like everything about that game. Not only how bad it felt like we played, just like you can make a case that there's a 15-point swing off of 4 minutes of officiating. So, yeah, but yeah, they did good tonight. So, and yeah, the thing with Gafford is like there's just certain matchups that I think it's going to be tough for him to play.
Sure, but I mean, I think that's the case with any backup big. I don't really hold that against him.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if they're playing Max more at 5, and I the Mavericks have some interest. I think you got to kind of keep Maxey wrapped and put in bubble wrap because I think that there's a tendency to want to overuse him at the 5 because I do think it works in bursts, but I think over a long enough timeline, he's not big enough and he's not a good enough rebounder to really. I think you can surprise some teams with things, and that's where somebody like Gafford as an additional option because he's a better rebounder, and it comes into play.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, my ideal would probably be like, still somewhere around the 20-minute range for him, and maybe they do something like split those minutes between him at the 4 and the 5 somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Like. But anyways, like, I think the most, like, it's crazy having to need a injury-prone player again, but here we are. Like, so, I wasn't as worried about, like, Dante's scoring. It's the fact that I now don't have to watch any minutes of Point Timmy. And that's probably the best thing.
It's good for the soul.
It is.
All right, man. What else?
Good look. I'm worried about Boston, but maybe it's possible. What are you thinking?
Look, Luka versus Boston has traditionally been kind of shockingly electric, particularly in Boston. But they're really, 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 really good. And so my expectations, I'm not looking forward to being hurt on a Friday night is kind of where I'm at. That's where, I don't know. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. It's just like trying to figure out matchups. Like, I mean, how do you defend them? I don't know.
No, you get like.
I mean, maybe you can put Kyrie on KP and find out he still can't post up 6'2" guards.
But he's just such a. He's been so good this year. It drives me crazy. TKG TV says Luka and Kyrie in Boston. Come on, guys. It's just it's a respect for the team that's only lost 3 home games this year. That's what this is.
Exactly. Yeah. They're loaded from the just 1 through 5. They're just stacked. Like,
that's right.
Supporting you got to admit their talent.
Yeah.
Now I'll say this. Like, I need to get money ready to put on this. I don't see anybody that can hang with Denver this year. I think they repeat.
When they focus,
yeah,
definitely.
Just watching them lately, just the last few games that I've watched them, like I don't know who matches up against them in the 7th, and they're probably going to be the 2 seed by next week.
Maybe.
So,
I mean, they lose focus just as often as the Mavs, I think. I think Jokic just kind of figured out how to pace himself, but it's going to be interesting to see. Who's winning this Clippers-Lakers game? Oh man, okay, Clippers by 14 at the moment. So that's something to watch, because if the Clippers are the team I kind of think would tumble out of the top 3, but yeah, it's hard to say at this point.
They already did.
Oh, top 4. Sorry, wrong.
Oh, top 4.
Sorry. Words are hard.
Top 4. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. They look like they're the ones more destined to fall, but I don't know. It's hard to call.
That's right. All right, man. Well, thank you for hanging out with us once again.
Yeah, anytime, Kirk.
All right, talk soon. Coming up next, see you soon. All right, coming up next, we got 3 other folks that have joined the show. We got Zach, I'm going to bring up here in a moment. Logan's ceiling fan, which is what I can see on the preview, so Logan might have to wait, and then my man Henry.
We're driven by the search for better, but when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Leveraging over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day, Indeed's matching engine is constantly learning from your preferences. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Just go to Indeed.com/Blue Wire right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
Zach, welcome to the show. Gotcha. It's muted. Hit the mute on the option.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, what's going on, man? Good team win. Yeah, I didn't really miss Maxi Kleber at all. I'm not gonna lie. I think Jason Kidd's gonna realize he can't play Kleber and Lively or Gafford next to him, because Kleber's been looking like a cone to me. But defensively, I like where we're at, and I like the size, the tools to be able to switch and match up with some of these guys, and just good team win. Good to have Dante Exum back. Yeah, he was like a +6 or something. I only scored 4 points, but
there's just like a comfort and a different level of control with everything when he's running stuff that I like it. And Josh Bowe, on the last show that we had, he just talked about how that lets Kyrie still willingly play off ball, where I think Kyrie can be very destructive to teams just because he actually moves without the ball.
Right.
And it's fun. It's fun to watch. I'm going to enjoy seeing more minutes from that particular combo.
For sure. I was ready to give it to Hardy, man, because he was showing flashes, but then he'll just do some stuff defensively, and I'm just like, okay, I see what Kidd is doing. He don't want to. It's almost like another Hardaway sometimes, but yeah, it's good to have him back, a big guard that can defend. And I don't really have much, man. Just good team win. I wanted to get out here, and I wish you would have did a show yesterday. I had so much to say about that game.
So I did, and no one was talking, and so we got like 15 minutes into it, and I had honestly had like a particularly strong drink as it went on the show, and then kind of as the show went on, and then it was like 10:30 at night, and I checked my work email like a dummy, and my boss sent me a nasty work email, and that just made everything worse. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna close this show up. I'm gonna back up. That game was rough. I mean, there's just so many things. I watched the fourth quarter again today because I just am a glutton for punishment. And I keep coming back to the fact that if one thing gone differently, the Mavericks would have won that game.
Yeah, for sure. I saw your tweet earlier about the NBA saying they only had one missed call, and I was just like, really? I can think about 5 off the top of my head. Like, it's crazy.
It was so bad. And there's tape for it. Like, you go to NBA.com, right? I don't know if anybody knows you can do this. It doesn't really work from your phone half the time. I don't know why. But if you're ever on a computer, the day after a game, go to NBA.com, check through the box scores. And when you go through, like if you want to see like all of Kyrie's makes, you click on the made field goal column. It'll be highlighted in like blue, and it'll hyperlink you, and you can go through and see all the makes. And so what I did was I went to that Donovan Mitchell bank 3, and you just see he pulls an Jared Allen just shoves him off. And it's like don't tell me.
That was Cleveland before that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like, come on. What is it makes me insane. Eric says they link the video in the report. I guess I didn't realize that today. So you can actually see them telling you that the sky is purple with some of these things that they tell you in the last 2-minute report. Absolutely amazing.
What about when Josh Green got whacked on the 3-pointer?
So this one is a particular NBA rule book bullshit. You can see on the thing they high five, right? Believe it or not, they have it in the NBA rule book, and our literal MMB police officer Matthew has shown this to me. The high five is not a foul, and so Josh
was it a
Green,
high five though?
See, and I can't tell from the video, but they're claiming it was. And so at that point, I'm like, I hated that one too. I mean, there were so many. Apparently,
Darius Garland travel.
Yes. I mean, it's just so much stuff. And it's just ridiculous. Joe Biden in the chat says we got to move on from the Cavs game, just erase it from memory. I will never know. Getting mad at old shit is one of the great parts about sports. Zach, you got anything else for us tonight?
Nah, that's it, man. Good team win. Shout out MFLs. Y'all have a good night.
Thanks, man. Hope you come back. Talk soon.
All right. Now
we got my man Logan. Logan, what's going on, dude? Beautiful beard.
What's up, Kirk? Thank you.
What are you thinking tonight?
So one of my regrets about not writing for y'all this season was that I was an Exum guy before when he was barely playing.
What a take.
I have tweets that were like, I'm going to get a jersey. And I was like, I'm going to get a Dante Exum jersey. And he played like 5 minutes a night. And people were like, all right, that's cool. Like no one knew why. I just liked the way he played because I was like that. This was before we knew he could shoot. And I was like, oh, this is the classic good defensive guard who can't really shoot, passes really well. The Ricky Rubio school of like white guy who can't shoot. How's he possibly going to stay on the basketball court? So, but I was like, I don't know. I think he's got something. And then he shot well in Europe. Like for a full season's worth of games, they add up to like 80. And I mean, they have the same line and stuff. But anyways, I just have been such a proponent of him. And then you see it tonight, and like it's so much more than just the production because of how organized they look and how there is no like the ball doesn't freeze as much, and even the double figures for everyone are kind of influenced by having someone like that because there's not one person holding it for 12 seconds trying to figure out what to do. And the stars are going to do that naturally, but that's kind of their like equity to do that. You know what I mean? But besides the stars, no one else is like sitting there being like, what am I going to do to make this possession worthwhile?
I got to interrupt you. Apologies. Okay. So I don't want to butcher this man's name, but somebody pointed out to me that part of why Dante Exum started to play well is he went to Europe and he received actual coaching. I don't want to butcher this man's name because there is a lot going on here.
I did hear someone told me that he had like a rough relationship with a coach. I don't know if that's who it
Not,
was.
it's not the Parisian the partisan team. I don't know how you say it. I'm terrible at this stuff. Texas naming of things is always really bad. Where it's just real literal. The coach's name Obradovic. I don't know, but it's a number of people have told me that like is an incredible basketball coach. You just Google the guy's name. EuroLeague's most decorated coach. So I think he received real coaching, and then really honed elements of his game in a not like very limited, but just again, he's a real shooter now. Like he's a real shooter.
I mean,
that's very impressive.
He's a set shooter, but he's a real shooter once he's set up. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, all those guys too, those like highly drafted athletic guys who can't really shoot, they turn out like Frank. Like Dennis Smith Jr. is like a little bit better than Frank, but it's like they try to make a living on defense because that's all they can really do. And like even if he stayed healthy, that's kind of what he seemed like he was going to be. But if he can shoot like that, I mean, if it's real and like we're saying, it seems like it is. That's just because Josh doesn't want to be that aggressive. Tim, it makes everything fall into place as far as that goes, and you don't have to sacrifice anything on the defensive side as much. And I don't know if PJ can keep it up like he does tonight. I don't know how you never let him shoot. Like he basically doesn't need to ever shoot corner threes, but that's actually like literally impossible. Like that's not how basketball works. To just be like, he's always going to be the one above the key. But that's what I'm thinking is like he's just so much worse at them. I think when he plays with Maxey, let him screen a lot because that will keep him there. When there's a center there, it doesn't really make as much sense because you want the center to roll. But let him be like short roll guy and stuff when they're playing with Maxey, and I think that should keep him in that kind of middle third. You know what I mean?
Sure.
That's like one thing I was thinking about, but I don't know. Good win. I have a feeling we're going to keep it close with Boston. I'll say that.
Sure. I think that's probably true. I think Luka and Kyrie alone, are enough talent to certainly keep things close, but I also wouldn't, and this is me just mentally lying.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get mad if they get waxed. Yes, I am. Boston's just that good of a regular.
I'm going to root for Denver. If that actually happens, Denver-Boston, I'm going to root for Denver about as hard as I can root for a non-Mavs finals.
Denver. I am firmly of the opinion that Denver would make them hurt.
I do too. I think so too. I think Boston, when it comes to nut crunching time, and it's a 5-point game with 6 minutes left, Jokic just alone. I mean, that's how basketball is. That's how LeBron always was. Like he's that good, and I think they'll just get better possessions.
Yeah. Well, it's also they're a really amazing shot quality team from deep. And I just think you give Coach Michael Malone a chance to scheme against that, and they're going to eliminate some of it. And they don't like Porzingis is not an answer for Jokic. Yeah. I mean, granted, nobody's an answer for Jokic.
Oh, that's true. I didn't think about that's like one matchup aspect, or like I hadn't really thought of that. Is they don't really have some burly, you know?
No, I mean like, you're who else do they friggin' have? They
have Horford and
they have Horford, who's our age.
Horford stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a real gamble. It's just a real gamble. I guess they do have Xavier Tillman, who is a wide, big body. I think they probably got him specifically for these kind of things for playoff stretch runs. Yeah. Luke Cornett's big ass isn't going to play any. Yeah,
Boston's become that team, just getting guys like Xavier Tillman for like 1 second round, where it kind of seems like they have like unlimited. You're like, wait, how did they get him? Like they just keep doing that. But
Nemus Quetta, he's another huge body for them. But yeah, otherwise they're a bunch of 6'7" guys.
Yeah.
So it's really something. Hey man, thanks for joining. You got anything else?
No, I'll talk to you soon.
All right, have a good one. All right, coming up next is Henry. What's up, Henry?
My God, I'm so sorry for not joining after that Cleveland game. I was finna let somebody have it, my guy. I definitely
It's tough though. The funny, it's so funny the way this stuff works. In that Mavs fans, more or less, and the sports fans, when you lose a game, sometimes you just want to move on. Sometimes you just want to move on
from. We shouldn't have been in the position to lose by a game-winning shot in the first place. There were so many mental errors, so many mental mistakes. I don't know why on God's green earth Tim Hardaway was the defensive stopper on Donovan Mitchell. In the fourth
he
quarter.
Played 17 straight minutes. Josh Green's injury, I think, really, really screwed with the rotations.
My thing is why do we keep calling Omax from the G League just to have him have VIP seats? Like, I don't understand. Like, we all know that Josh Green dies on screens. Like, so much is a little good screen, and he's out of the play. Omac's defense is one of one. I'm talking like it's amazing. I know you've watched Omac's play defense. His energy, his intensity, 6'8",
huge.
Like Omac's defense is. I would pay to watch Omac's play defense. That's just how damn.
He's really good. Like, I think he's not I think he's got a lot to go with team defense, but like an individual lockup guy, he's a monster.
Exactly. And that's what we need. Look, again, Denver, when they won the championship, was probably around 14, 16. So they weren't amazing. They were right in the middle of the pack. However, they had 2 to 3 minute stretches where they absolutely shut you down. Mm-hmm. And we're going to need Omax for that at a time to time. But, I mean, Strus was obviously 3 of 5 with Tim Hardaway being his defender. But
Strus couldn't hit shit all year, and then he does that.
Exactly. He has like 5 points tonight or some shit. I don't even know what's going on. But I'm firmly believe, I don't know what it is. This kid just have these mental lapses. But he's going to cost us a game or two in the playoffs just for no fucking reason. And
I mean, we have evidence of some really strong coaching from him, and then we have evidence of like he seems to forget what his job is.
Exactly. I
don't get it.
Why does the pendulum swing so extreme? I don't understand it.
Yeah.
But as far as I'm gonna put that behind, that was a game we shouldn't have lost. Both games to Cleveland, actually, when they were sitting out all their players.
Oh God, we lost that 20-point lead. That sucked too. Yeah.
There's several games this season. I'm not gonna put it all at Kid, but through mental errors, mistakes, we should easily be probably about top 3, top 4 right now, just with an extra 4 or 5 games that swing our way. But game tonight, I mean, I'm gonna get to Boston in a second, but the game tonight, I wasn't really worried about it. I saw some people worried about Kai at the half. I'm never worried about Kai. At a moment's notice, he can just decide to go run off 15, like at a moment's notice. So I'm never really worried about that. What I will say though is heading into this Boston game, depending on which Kyrie we get, I don't know, because obviously I came over with Kyrie. Yeah, I don't know how many people. I don't know if yourself. Did you watch that first round series where they got swept, Brooklyn versus Boston?
So not the series where he broke his foot.
You're talking the next one? The last year they were together.
I didn't see that one.
Okay. So game 1, if you go back, all you need to watch is game 1. Game 1, I think it was 2022, 2023 playoffs. So he obviously got swept by Boston in the first round. Game 1, I think Kai drops 40, 38 points, somewhere in that manner. And
right.
He was completely unguardable. However, Kevin Durant didn't show up. He actually gave up the game-winning layup because for some odd reason he just let Jason Tatum run from the 3-point line.
I remember this one. Yeah,
exactly. Crashed the board and do the game-winning layup. And then the national media mirror was no way KD can have 2 bad games. He proceeds to have 2 bad games. No way KD can have 3 bad games. He could pull up from 30. He has 3 straight bad games and then decides to hoop for the 4th. But the point I'm making saying this is Boston cannot guard Kyrie. I know Boston's obviously a juggernaut, but they're thin. Like the previous guy just mentioned, I mean, Al Horford, Porzingis, they're not going to do anything against Lively or Gafford.
Right.
So I do think we have an opportunity in this. And again, like,
bully ball him a little bit, I think.
Depending on which Kyrie we get, because sometimes he wants to be buddy. Hey, Jaylen Brown, thank you for wearing my shoes. But if he comes out like he was game 1, when he was flicking people off, telling them to suck his, headed into the locker room, Mavs are winning this game.
Well, he's been getting to the line a little more. Sorry, I'm looking for his game log as I'm babbling about this. And I think getting to the free throw line it's not the most important part of Kyrie's game, but I think I think, and this is just NBA players, period. He likes to see the ball go through the net. Right.
Right.
And that can just be really something. So he's gone. So February's not been a great month. He's only gone to the line and averaged 2 times a game. But these last 3 games, he shot a total of 12 free throws. He hasn't missed any. And if he can get four looks a game, just 4 free throws,
that's 30 a game. He can average 30 a game if he just.
I think that's right. Yeah.
He's averaging 27 with less than 4 attempts.
Right. So you get him 4 attempts a game. That takes the pressure off other elements of his shooting and scoring. And also it just with him and Luka, if Luka's going to average how many free throws he averages, it becomes a real weapon if you're able to get these teams in the bonus. I like that. Kyrie's difficult because some games it's just like, again, I've talked about this. He is a slight player. It is not an insult to note the fact that he's about 175 pounds. So it's not like you want the guy to take a beating. But if he's able to actually, get called with some of these kinds, I'm glad to see it. Is my point. Right. It really helps alleviate elements of pressure from the rest of his game. So if it's like, all right, there's that game, it was last game, it was against Cleveland. I kind of argued with some fans in the chat because I'm like, he started off 3 of 10 from the floor. Well, if you're going to line, then that matters less.
Right.
And then those really wild ass shots like he was making in the fourth quarter against the Pacers start to go down easier. And I don't know. I'm looking forward to the experience. I am a little like, this is just me. I should probably knock on wood as I'm saying this. I wouldn't mind them finding a spot of rest for him. I know they just came out of All-Star break, but him and Luka have played a lot of consecutive games here, and the schedule doesn't lighten up in terms of frequency of games. So I'm hopeful that Kid can kind of get the minute usage down to maybe
right.
He got 35 tonight. If he could play 35 minutes a game instead of 39, that's just going to matter over the rest of the regular season.
Oh, 100%, 100%. But I think we actually have a good. I'm overly optimistic where I think that we're actually going to beat Boston and put the rest of the world on notice. With New Orleans and Sacramento losing tonight, do we move into 6th or 7th?
Where are we at right now? I was just looking. I pulled away from it. So they are sitting. Oh, that's not the.
I don't think they've updated it yet.
Well, ESPN's updates in real time as things go. So they're sitting at 7th with a half game behind the Pelicans, a half game behind the Suns. So they're a half game back from 5th is sort of the point. But they're also a half game ahead of the Kings because they just lost to Denver. So yeah, they're sitting kind of firmly at 7th. There's enough stuff going on the next few weeks to where I just don't think we're going to see much separation either way.
If we would have won that Cleveland game, we would have been sitting at 5th. That's crazy.
Yep.
But yeah, I definitely think that we can beat Boston. But again, MFFLs, just wait till you see playoff Kyrie. That's all I'm gonna say. Just wait for.
Well, I pointed this out in the last show. They're 4 games away from their win total last year. Everyone's like,
really?
They're not going to make it. Well, they won 38 games last year. They won 34 right now. 30.
We're that close
34.
already.
Where
were we at the break last year when they pulled the trade off?
That's a great. They were already in a bad spot.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, because a lot of people say, "Oh, when Kyrie got traded, they didn't make the playoffs." You were like 4 games above 500. Like it was.
Yeah,
bad.
it was pretty rough. So the Kyrie trade happened before All-Star break. They were sitting at, what was Kyrie's first game? Was it a Clippers game?
Clippers game.
Clippers game. So they were sitting at, this is 2 years ago. I can't do it. ESPN schedule stuff sometimes likes to not listen to what I'm asking it to do.
Take your time.
All right. So they beat the Clippers on February 8th, and they were 30-26 after that win. Kyrie had 24 points.
So
they weren't
at 26 before Kyrie got here, and they act like and they were the 4th seed, 3 games above 500, and then act like when Kai came in, the sky just fell out. The team was already awful.
Well, they just didn't have any. Because I'm looking at this. That 3-game win streak was the last time they won 3 games. Then the rest of the regular season, they won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They won 7 games the rest of the regular season after that 3-game win streak. So, and they were trying. That's the thing. A lot of people, they really didn't, because it was the what was it here? I'm looking at it was the Charlotte losses. Those 2 back-to-back. There was like, this is all right. We're done here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so. That Dennis Smith Jr. dagger absolutely hurt, but playoff Kyrie is a different animal. Who are you looking forward to? Who do you want in the first round?
God, I mean, this is ridiculous because I shouldn't believe in this sort of stuff, but I think there's something to the fact that Luka needs to overcome his demons against a Clippers team. I don't want them, but I think that is just sort of how this storybook shit normally works. I would like to see them play the Thunder in a series, just because I think that's one area where the Mavericks can outsize someone.
Yeah,
the Timberwolves could be fun, but I don't think we're going to fall back to 8. Just because I love Anthony Edwards, but I also think that he is. There's a lot of attention to him, like people wanting to crown him the next American thing.
Right.
I don't think he's there. Not yet. He will be. He's amazing. But I think Luka and the Mavericks would put him and Rudy Gobert in a blender in a playoff.
Oh, for sure, 100%. I mean, they can't speak well on Luka because Kyrie's attached to it, and then by default, the media has to acknowledge that what they've been saying for the past few years about him being a teammate or a cancer is false. So Luka's kind of getting a brunt second.
Well, it would just be the most whiny series in NBA history because between Gobert and Luka and Karl Anthony Towns, just a lot of like whine.
I don't actually think Luka has Clipper demons. Wasn't it his rookie year in the bubble? We put up like 42, 7, and 9.
Yeah, but if you've lost to the team twice in the playoffs, like the only Clippers really series wins that have actually mattered for the Clippers during their entire friggin' Kawhi era had been against the Mavericks. And that was when Luka went supernova, but it's like Luka doesn't own the Mavericks realistically because they handed them their asses both playoff series.
Right.
You know, that there was the second playoff series where Kawhi Leonard game 6 just absolutely went Michael Jordan on the Mavericks. It's one of the craziest stat lines I've ever seen in the game. And it felt like he just he sort of broke the Mavericks, that current iteration. Granted, they weren't very good, but it was still something to see.
Okay. So your choice is still OKC for that first round.
I think maybe. I also just think there'd be some poetic justice to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander winning the MVP and then Luka just.
I still think Jokic gets it. I know they're on a.
I do too.
I think that he partnered with. Once I saw he partnered with Skims and Kim K, I instantly knew what was automatically going to come with it. It's not a matter of who's the best; it's who's most marketable.
Well, also, there's 20 games left in the year. Like Joel Embiid closed like a monster last year to take the MVP. I mean, there was a lot of the narrative stuff, and I just think like Jokic could still do that the same way Luka's trying to.
Absolutely. How do you feel about the Warriors? Would you be afraid if you ran into the Warriors?
No.
Okay.
No, not if Andrew Wiggins is being weird, which he currently, he's out for personal reasons. I think he's
if he was, I wasn't too worried about it. The Clippers,
sure, I think he's their special sauce to guarding somebody like Luka when he's really locked in.
How often is that though? That's such a variable. Kind of
they broke the Mavericks so bad in 2021-22 in that Western Conference Finals that we're still chasing big men. That's how, that's my take. A little spicy.
I mean, but the Clippers are going to, at some point in time, Paul George is going to have a 4 for 13 pandemic P game. And, Harden's also going to have a 1 for 18 game. So it's like, I'm not too worried about them either. Because at first you used to just blitz him and you had quote unquote good defenders in Kawhi and PG who got toasted by Luka. And you mean to tell me you finna help off a Batman? Like, I'm sorry. Most teams only have one guy. Nuggets you can give it to with the Jamal Murray, Jokic pick and roll, but most teams only have one. That's the guy. Mavericks have 2. Like, they don't get nervous the harder the game gets. They actually get more calm. It's kind of terrifying. They're both
They're great clutch games. Like it's really nice.
Yeah, so I'm really not worried about it. As long as we can get that 5th seed or the 6th seed, avoid the play-in, so we don't have to play the extra game. Albeit health. As long as you don't run into Denver until the Western Conference.
Yes, don't want to play them.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. I'm not worried about anybody else in the West.
Thanks so much for hanging out, man. Talk soon.
Man.
All right. Then let's see here. I want to shout out to Defeer, who commented in the chat a little while ago. He just wanted to note that the Mavericks have given up 120 points in the past 3 games. So we got questions about our defense. The defense is bad. The defense needs work. Let's call it that. All right. So we got Rain and then Mr. Dang, and we will close it out. Rain, what's going on? How's your day going? Give Rain a second for his audio to click in. We'll see what he's saying. All right. No audio from Rain, so I'm going to move over to Mr. Dang. What's going on, my guy? How are you feeling tonight?
A little tired, but I missed the last 2, so I need to get my 2 cents in.
All right, let's hear it.
Man, this should be a 10-game winning streak. I know you said don't harp on Kid, but God, this guy gives me so much ammo. Oh my God.
I was pretty mad. Yeah.
How do you, what's the cardinal thing that you do when you have somebody who's hot? You don't let them beat you. I'm not talking about the last 60-foot shot. I'm talking about all those 3-pointers he jacked up. I'm like, what are you doing? They just have Mitchell and Strus right there. I wouldn't worry about anybody else in that last, several minutes. It's a cardinal sin to let the hot guy beat you. I just don't understand that. And that all comes down to what? Coaching. Close games come down to coaching,
That was such a, all right, not to, it was 67 seconds where the guy made 4 threes. I thought after the second 3, maybe there's an option for a timeout. After the third 3 was the only time where I was really like, what is going on here?
Exactly.
And the 4th one and then the 5th one. What a ridiculous series of sentences.
I mean, who was checking him too? I don't remember who Strus
Honestly,
who had him.
Luka was on him, and then Josh,
Christ.
and then Tim had to switch onto him and was late for 2.
And what the fuck is Tim doing in a defensive position where we could have rotated him out?
I'm glad you asked this question. So Josh Green hurt his elbow on that dunk and was in and out.
Okay.
If you check the game log, Tim goes in in the third quarter and does not come out again until
17 minutes.
He played 3 minutes. And so there's, much as I want to be mad at him, it was a whole collective of fuckery is kind of how I think about it.
Couldn't they put in DJJ? Was he in or Omax like the previous?
Hindsight, once you get up to a 10-point lead, and Josh Bowe wrote about this at Mavsmoneyball.com. I really recommend going and reading the breakdown because Josh is really, really smart. At some point, there was an opportunity to call a timeout. The Mavericks go up 10, where Maxi Kleber grabs that great offensive rebound and then sticks a 3. At that point, I'm wondering if, in hindsight, it's hard to say this because it's like the Tim Hardaway, Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving net rating for that 3-person group is actually quite good because they just destroy teams on threes. So it's really easy to say this in hindsight, particularly with how bad Tim has played for like 9 straight games. I will just say that like there was a lot happening at once, and the Mavericks had a series of both bad luck plus bad decisions, and then they lost the game.
I agree to a certain point, but we don't play situational basketball. A lot of teams, they'll call timeouts to switch offense for defense.
Maybe that was the time to do. You go up 10, there's like 3-4 minutes left. Maybe you do something different. But how many times have we seen the Mavericks shit themselves where they play like they overcorrect and go into prevent offense? I hate that too.
I hate that too. And that's a byproduct of kid and not pressing the tempo. You know, we look great when we press the ball.
Yeah.
You know, and then I'm sick of the rotations. I'm like, Lively should be playing more. What the fuck? You burning out Maxi too. We need Maxi for a good 20 minutes.
Yeah. You know? The Lively stuff is tough because it comes down to like, what are your expectations for him, where he can't get more experience without playing, but you also don't want to burn him to where he has situations where he fails. And then Kid is one thing Kid is pretty good about, I think, has been putting guys in places where they succeed, particularly rookies. And so it's a building thing with Lively. Is Lively going to be ready for the playoffs to play 30 minutes? I don't know. Hope so.
Well, I would rather have gone to Gafford, you know, or put in a lineup with DJJ and having a small ball 5 with PJ Washington, you know. Yep. But you can't keep on burning out Maxi where he's not available this game. And in some ways, I'm glad he's not, because that way Jason Kidd can't burn him out for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
you know, it's just like you said, his management of minutes for Kyrie and Luka are absurd. You know,
if you take him off the court, though, bad things happen. Like that's where Dante Exum coming back tonight has been particularly helpful because it means Kyrie can be an off guard for the second unit and not the lead guard.
I agree, but the point that I'm going to make as far as like, I'm just talking about, even if it is like tonight, we were up by 15, 16, and he puts Luka back in. And I would have kept Luka out until we're down by 10 and call a timeout and get him back in. You know, I mean, we got to keep these guys healthy. I am so worried about the health situation of this team because 2 things that can kill us: health between the 2 superstars, and then even to a lesser extent, Maxi and kids coaching. You know, that's what's holding us back, in my opinion. That's the limiting factor of the potential of this team, you know, and it's too bad we can't do anything about it. You know,
we'll see. And I don't know. I want to be mad at him without beating the dead horse because it's just not going to go anywhere. But I understand. You're right. Frustrated.
Yeah, I understand. I'm not trying. Do you remember that one European guy that really hated Kid that used to go to Mav game a lot? What's his name? He had a
Manikiva.
Yeah, where's he been?
So last time I heard from his son-in-law, he was I think it's sitting. He was basically taking off the year for religious reasons, like from just about everything. He was basically it's a year of mourning. I want to say it was. I don't want to misspeak, so I'm very worried about that. But I think he'll be back at some point.
Oh, on another point, does Doyle Rader still write for you guys?
Yes, he does. But he works for the North Texas Red Cross, and for his day job, and he has been he got sent out to the Panhandle today to do some work related to the fires that are going on out there. So
Okay, okay, because I hadn't seen anything from him in a while.
I
And
haven't
what's kind of
seen him
funny?
in a while too. He's pissing me off, but it's hard to be mad at a guy that's like working for the Red Cross.
Oh yeah, I think I saw an article from him that he wrote about for the State Fair aquaponics and hydroponics facility that they're doing. And I'm going to go out there and tour it. And I do a lot of research now with aquaponics and hydroponics, so it's going to be interesting.
I'll tell him. That's funny.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So it was a good article. It was a really good article. It told me a lot about how the facility was started and what they've done. It was back in 2021, but I just read it now.
That's
it was
funny.
a small world.
He writes for all. He's wrote for so many Dallas publications. He's a writer at large.
It's very good. All the work that I've seen, it just kind of surprised me, in some ways. It's a small world.
That's right. All right, man. Well, thanks so much for hanging out.
Thanks. I really appreciate you and Josh and the Mavs Moneyball staff. Y'all have great material. I wish I could read it all every day, but work gets in the way.
I understand. Well, have a good day. We'll talk soon.
Talk soon. Thank you, Josh.
Mm-hmm. Rain, let's try again.
Oh, well, the mic should be working now.
There we go. What's
there
up?
we go. Unfortunately, I missed most of the game due to work, but I have a couple of thoughts just about the Mavs in general. Regarding facing the Clippers, I think the Clippers should not want to see Luka.
Ooh, love it.
I think it's no coincidence that they've gone and lost future rounds to injury after playing Luka. With the amount of minutes and effort that it simply requires from PG or Kawhi, I think it's more likely to just burn them out.
I like the take.
Sorry, it's just echoing, so I'm hearing myself a lot. On top of that, it would be a nice story for Luka to then conquer that hill. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, I think if we can get Omax to develop just one offensive skill that's consistent, I think that will be an absolute game changer. And he may even overtake someone in the lineup, either as a 3 or 4, purely because of his defensive effort and just the energy that comes in and the ability to rebound and the size, just all these things that are still kind of lacking.
Sure.
That's about it, really. Thanks for doing these.
Absolutely. We'll be back again on Friday. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. Hope to talk soon.
Nice.
All right. Let me see here. I think that's all we got. All right. Everybody, if you still want to go hang out live, We Talk Mavs is doing their live show. They usually start later than us because I'm an insane person and do it immediately after the game. But I'm going to head out for the night. We'll be back on Friday. Everybody go be good. Enjoy the rest of your week and go Mavs. Bye, guys.